The 1938D wheat penny in extra fine condition. Why is this coin so special? And what's it really worth today? The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, Lincoln himself, on the obverse for over 3 decades. From 1909 to 1958, these coins featured the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, giving them the nickname wheat pennies. But not all wheat pennies are created equal. Certain years, mint marks, and especially conditions, make some coins incredibly valuable. The 1938D penny is one of those. In 1938, the world was on the brink of major change, with the Great Depression still affecting America. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark, produced about 46 million pennies that year. That might sound like a lot, but when it comes to coins, condition is everything. The 1938D wheat penny was minted in Denver and is relatively common. But finding one in extra fine condition, especially after all these years, is pretty rare. Before we talk value, let's quickly go over what extra fine means. Coin grading is a way to assess the condition and quality of a coin. Grades range from poor, good, fine, very fine, extra fine, about uncirculated, and finally mint state, which is basically brand new. Extra fine, or XF, means the coin shows only light wear on the highest points of the design. You can still see most of the detail clearly. Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks, and other features are sharp but slightly softened. So why is the 1938D wheat penny in extra fine condition valuable? First, it's about scarcity. While millions were minted, most pennies from that era were heavily circulated and worn down, especially since pennies were everyday change. Coins in XF condition have avoided the harsh wear and tear, making them desirable for collectors looking to fill spots in their collections with higher grade examples. The 1938D in XF condition strikes a balance, not quite uncirculated and rare, but definitely a notch above your typical pocket change. So what is a 1938D wheat penny in extra fine condition worth today? Prices can vary based on exact condition and market demand, but generally, you're looking at around $400 for an XF coin from this year and mint. That might not sound like much, but remember, this is a coin that once cost 1 cent. For collectors, it's a nice upgrade from the common worn pennies. And if you find one in even better condition, like about uncirculated or mint state, the value can jump dramatically, sometimes into the tens or thousands of dollars. If you're hunting for a 1938D wheat penny in extra fine condition, here are a few tips. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's hair, clear wheat stalk lines on the back, and minimal surface scratches or dents. Avoid coins that look flat, have corrosion, or heavy wear. Using a good magnifying glass or loupe helps. And if you're serious about buying, consider coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC to guarantee authenticity and condition. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1938D Lincoln wheat penny in extra fine condition is a small but valuable piece of American history. It's a coin that connects us back to Lincoln himself and to a very different era in the U.S. market. The 1966 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, even in dirty condition, and what it's worth right now in the market. At first glance, the 1966 Jefferson nickel might look like your everyday pocket change, especially if it's dirty or worn. But did you know some of these coins, even in less than perfect condition, can fetch a surprising price from collectors? Let's break it down. The 1966 Jefferson nickel was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint stopped using mint marks on nickels for a few years, from 1965 to 1967, as part of a plan to discourage coin hoarding during a coin shortage. So if your nickel has no mint mark, that's completely normal for 1966. Now, you might think no mint mark means less valuable. But value depends on more than just mint marks. The condition, rarity, errors, and demand among collectors all come into play. So, What about a dirty 1966 nickel? If your coin is grimy or shows wear, is it still worth anything? The answer yes. Well, pristine uncirculated nickels are the most valuable. Even circulated or dirty coins can have value, especially if they're scarce in circulation for. A 1966 Jefferson nickel without mint mark in dirty or circulated condition, typical values today hover around 150.00, which is slightly above face value, thanks to collector interest. But that's just the general range. If you find one in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, the value can jump to $1,000 or even more. But what really makes a 1966 nickel stand out are rare errors or varieties. Some 1966 nickels feature rare minting errors like double dies or die cracks, which can push values into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. But since we're focusing on the dirty or circulated 1966 nickel without mint mark, here's the bottom line. If you just found one in your pocket or coin jar, it's usually worth a bit more than 5 cents, but likely not enough to make you rich still. These nickels are a great coin to collect, especially because they mark an interesting period in US coin history. And, who knows, you might stumble on an error or rare find hiding under that dirt. Next up, the 1940 for penny without a mint mark, particularly those found in black shade and damaged condition. What makes this coin so special? How much is it worth today? Stick around and we'll uncover all that and more. First, a quick history refresher. The Lincoln Wheat penny was minted from 1909 to 1958. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's profile, one of the most iconic faces in US coinage history. The reverse side features two stalks of wheat, hence the nickname Wheat penny. The 1940 for penny was minted during World War II, a period when copper was in high demand for the war effort. In 1944, pennies were primarily minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark, which indicates the mint location, is usually found beneath the date on the coin's obverse side. The 1940 for pennies from Denver carry a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. However, pennies from Philadelphia typically have no mint mark at all. The 1940 for no mint mark penny is significant because Philadelphia was the main mint and produced the majority of these coins. However, the real intrigue comes when you find one in unusual conditions such as black shading damage or toning, which collectors sometimes call black shade damage. Black shade damage typically refers to discoloration or toning on the coin's surface. This can happen due to environmental factors like moisture, exposure to chemicals, or improper storage. While damage usually lowers a coin's value, some collectors find these variations intriguing because they tell a unique story about the coin's journey over time. So, what is the value of a 1940 for Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark, especially one with black shade damage? Well, condition is king in coin collecting, and damage typically decreases value. A regular circulated 1940 for Philadelphia penny usually sells for about $250. That said, if the coin is extremely rare in terms of error or unique characteristics beyond just black shading, for example, misstrikes or unique die varieties, collectors might pay a premium. In such cases, values can jump to anywhere from $400 up to a few $1,000s, depending on rarity and demand. If you're thinking about buying or selling a 1940 for penny without a mint mark in damaged condition, it's important to get it graded by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Grading can provide a professional assessment of condition and authenticity, which can significantly affect value. Also, be cautious about black shade damage. While it doesn't add value, some buyers actually appreciate the uniqueness. Make sure to take clear photos and describe the coin accurately. Next up, the 1987 Jefferson nickel with a P mint mark, but not just any regular nickel. We're talking about one with reverse side damage, and why that makes it one of the most valuable nickels you can find today. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello his historic home, on the reverse. The 1987 nickel minted in Philadelphia, that's what the P stands for, is pretty common. Millions were made. But here's the catch. Some 1987 P nickels show significant damage or errors on the reverse side that can skyrocket their value. So, what exactly is reverse side damage? It can mean several things, from accidental damage like scratches and gouges caused during circulation or mishandling, to die cracks and die breaks that happen during the minting process. Some collectors mistakenly throw these damaged coins away, but in reality, some of these errors are rare and highly collectible. Condition is everything when it comes to coin value. Most damaged coins drop in value, but error coins with certain types of damage actually become more valuable. The key is identifying whether the damage is post-mint or mint-related. Post-mint damage, like scratches, dents, or corrosion, usually lowers a coin's value, but mint errors, like die cracks, die clashes, or double dies, can make your 1987p nickel worth a lot more than face value. The 1987p nickel has been found with a few notable mint errors, especially on the reverse. Some show clear die cracks running through Monticello's roof or the lead airing. Others have what we call strike doubling or off-center strikes, causing a distorted look. If your coin has these features, even with damage, it could be valuable to the right collector. Now, let's talk numbers. A standard 1987p Jefferson nickel in circulated condition usually trades for just face value, 5 cents. But those with significant mint errors or reverse damage caused during the striking process? They can fetch anywhere from $170 or more, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. Examine it carefully under magnification for die cracks or unusual marks that happened at the mint. Check the coin's condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. Get it professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC that can authenticate if it's a true mint error. To sum it up, while most 1987p Jefferson nickels are common, those with reverse side damage caused by mint errors are a hidden gem for collectors. If you spot one, it could be worth more than you think, potentially hundreds of dollars in today's market. Next up, the 1941 wheat penny is a fascinating coin with a rich history, and it's a favorite among collectors. Let's break it down from the basics and then get into the value you might expect if you find one in good condition. First, a little history. The Lincoln wheat penny, also called the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse side features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity. The 1941 penny was minted during a significant period in U.S. history right before the U.S. entered World War II. You might be wondering, what does it mean when we say without a mint mark? Well, in 1941, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically didn't have a mint mark. So if your 1941 penny has no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. Most 1941 wheat pennies aren't rare since millions were produced. However, their value comes down to condition. Coins that have been well preserved over the decades are highly sought after by collectors. The 1941 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark may not be the rarest coin out there, but its historical significance and copper content make it a great addition to any collection. In good condition, it's more valuable than just a penny, sometimes worth several dollars or even more. Next up, the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, especially one with a striking black shade. You could be sitting on a little gem. Today, we'll dive into what makes this coin special, why the lack of a mint mark matters, and what its value is in today's market. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. Now, the 1965 nickel is unique for a couple of reasons. Unlike other years, no mint mark was used on coins struck between 1965 and 1967. This was part of a temporary policy to discourage coin hoarding during a period of rising silver prices, while the 1965 nickel was minted primarily in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. None of the coins from these years carry mint marks. That's why this without mint mark variety is the standard for 1965 nickels now. What about the black shade condition? Most circulated nickels will show wear and develop unnatural patina or toning over time, but a black shade is rare and visually striking. This dark toning can happen due to exposure to certain environmental factors like sulfur in the air or contact with rubber, paper, or other materials. Over many decades. Collectors love black toned nickels because they add character and uniqueness. However, the value depends heavily on the coin's overall condition, clarity of design, and appeal. Average circulated condition. These nickels are pretty common and typically worth their face value or a slight premium, usually around 1,000.000. In uncirculated or mint state condition MS60 to MS65, the value can rise to about $180 depending on the grade and appeal. Now, for a black shade or heavily toned example in very fine VF to extremely fine XF condition, collectors might pay a premium of around $200 if the toning is attractive and the coin shows good detail. Remember, the key to value here is condition combined with the unique black shade toning, which makes the coin stand out from the standard grayish ones. If you think you've got a 1965 nickel with this unique black shade, consider having it professionally graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. This can certify its condition and toning, boosting its resale value. And if you're buying, always check for natural toning. Some sellers artificially darken coins, which can reduce value. Natural black toning develops over decades and is highly prized by collectors. Next up, the 1950 to Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark, especially those found in black shade and dirty condition. What's the true value of these coins in today's market? Stick around because this video will break it all down for you. First off, let's get some background. The Lincoln wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, which was revolutionary at the time. These pennies feature the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side, earning them the name wheat penny today. Collectors highly prize these coins not only for their age, but also for their historical significance. Now, let's zero in on the 195 to D Lincoln wheat penny. The D mint mark tells us this penny was struck at the Denver Mint. While 1952 wasn't the rarest year for wheat pennies, the D mint mark adds an interesting element to its collectability. But here's the kicker. Many 1950 to D pennies you'll find today are often in circulated condition, some with heavy wear, dirt, or even darkened, blackened surfaces due to oxidation and environmental exposure. When collectors talk about black shade pennies, they mean coins that have developed a dark, almost black patina over time. This usually happens because of natural oxidation or chemical exposure. While this might sound like damage, a black shade doesn't necessarily ruin a penny's value. In fact, many collectors find that a natural patina can add character and authenticity, especially if the coin hasn't been harshly cleaned or altered. Condition plays a massive role in coin valuation. The Lincoln wheat penny is graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Dirty or blackened pennies often fall into lower grades, typically good G, very good VG, or fine F. These grades indicate a lot of wear, dirt accumulation, or surface discoloration. But here's the important part. If the coin's details, like Lincoln's profile or the wheat ears, are still recognizable, the coin can still hold decent value. So what's a 1950 2D black shade wheat penny worth? Well, in dirty or heavily circulated condition, these pennies usually fetch between 600.00 cents at most coin shops or online marketplaces like eBay. But if you're lucky enough to find a cleaner specimen or one with some rare die errors or exceptional toning, values can jump to several dollars or more. Keep in mind, the sheer volume of these coins minted makes truly rare 1950 2D pennies almost non-existent. so your coin's value hinges mostly on condition and eye appeal. If you're thinking about cleaning a blackened penny to make it shine, pause right there. Cleaning coins, especially old copper ones, often reduces their value drastically. The best approach is to gently brush off loose dirt without using harsh chemicals or abrasives, preserving that natural patina that keeps your coin authentic and more valuable in the eyes of collectors. To wrap it up, the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny in black shade and dirty condition isn't the holy grail of coin collecting, but it still holds a nostalgic charm and modest value, typically under $1 unless it's in better shape or has special attributes. If you stumble upon one in your change, treasure it. It's a little piece of American history, minted over 70 years ago, bearing the image of one of our greatest presidents. Next up, the 1939 5-cent piece without a mint mark, especially in extremely fine condition. Stick around because this little nickel could be worth way more than you think. First, a quick refresher. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the front, and his iconic Monticello home in the back. But what makes the 1939 nickel without a mint mark special? Well, the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. In 1939, nickels were produced at two mints, Philadelphia, which doesn't use a mint mark, and Denver, which uses a D. The no mint mark version means it was minted in Philadelphia. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 56 million Jefferson nickels, a pretty large number. But here's the catch: coins from that year, especially in extremely fine condition, are not as common as you might expect. Now, let's talk condition. The extremely fine grade, abbreviated EF or XF, means the coin has light wear on the highest points, but all the details remain sharp and clear. This grade is important because coins in this condition are much rarer than those that are heavily circulated. When you find a 1939 nickel in EF condition, you're looking at a coin that survived decades of handling without losing much of its original detail. That's valuable to collectors. So, how much is a 1939 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel worth today? Extremely fine condition. Well, prices fluctuate based on the market and demand, but generally speaking, you can expect anywhere from $350 per coin. In fact, some coins graded higher than extremely fine, like about uncirculated or mint state MS, can fetch significantly more, sometimes over $300 if the coin has exceptional eye appeal and luster for everyday collectors. Finding a 1939 nickel in extremely fine condition can be a great way to start or add to a Jefferson nickel collection. And if you stumble on one without a mint mark, you could be holding a nice little treasure. So, whether you're a casual collector or a serious numismatist, keep your eyes peeled for these valuable 1939 Jefferson nickels without a mint mark in extremely fine condition. They're affordable, historically rich, and hold great value for collectors. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next treasure hunt. Got a rare coin you want me to check out? Drop a comment or send a photo. I'd love to help.